Hello, and welcome to Lawless Conversations with Katie. I'm Katie, your host. This podcast goes through various difficult subjects such as abortion, gun control, prison systems, or gender, to name a few, and dives into all different aspects of the arguments that might be offered or discussed. At the moment, we are wading our way through the subject of abortion, and today we are talking about rape. Although I have spent a lot of time and effort into researching these topics, I am by no means an expert on this subject or any other subject I will explore in the future. So take my thoughts with a grain of salt, and of course, if you have any questions or things to add, please share them. I try my best to keep my own biases out of these explorations, and because I'm talking about many aspects of a subject, including opposing ideas and arguments, know that these are not necessarily ideas that I subscribe to or hold personally. I will, however, explore different arguments as if I do believe in them in order to truly explore all facets of this subject. Finally, because these are difficult subjects, there will be some content that is hard to hear and might be triggering. Please understand I am not looking to insult anyone, but to explore these subjects openly and honestly. I don't want to convince anyone to think like me. I want to convince people to think, period. So without further ado, come have a lawless conversation with me. One aspect that is not explored deeply enough is the way rape does and should influence the choices and possible laws that might be created in relation to abortion. When one holds to the conception theory, or any theory that leads to the rights of the host eventually becoming null in favor of the rights of the fetus, the prevalence of rape throws a major wrench into the mix. At this point in history, we are unable to negate the occurrence of rape. At any given moment, women are susceptible to the sexual advances of someone in a situation that they cannot control or defend themselves against. This fact of life for every woman means that at some point, she can make all the correct choices to protect against unwanted pregnancy, even maintaining abstinence or being on a strong and effective birth control, and still get pregnant through rape. When looking at this reality of sex, one might point out that the abortions due to rape are very low on the list of reasons to get the procedure. One study done in 2004, rape was the reason for abortion about 0.5% of the time. But this issue is broader than the numbers. Depending on the sources you're looking at, either 1 in every 6 or 1 in every 5 American females experience an attempted or completed rape in their lifetime. Almost every woman can tell a story of when she was either assaulted or raped in her life. Even though rape does not always lead to pregnancy, because it has the potential to, there is no absolute that a woman can obtain or use to never be faced with the choice of abortion. To ban abortion is to create a law that is absolute. But an absolute law cannot fulfill its purpose unless it is strictly adhered to or an absolute alternative is available, such as a 100% effective birth control. But since we do not have that absolution, the law will contain caveats for certain situations, like rape, and the absolution is lost. This factor of chance and complete lack of control means that there are no laws that can set a standard for limiting abortion. If a law is made banning abortion, except in the cases of rape, there is the possibility of women lying about being raped in order to get an abortion. This would mean that those who claim rape would have to be put through a rigorous test to determine if she actually was. In this scenario, some women who were actually raped would be denied an abortion because of the lack of evidence. Not to mention, this test would subject her to even more trauma, apart from which the rape had already created. This is a barbaric way of dealing with the issue of pregnancy from rape, and almost any law is going to have similar issues. There might be those who look at this as a minor issue. If you are raped, go through the procedures to get a rape kit done, file a police report, collect evidence, and you won't have to be worried about passing the quote-unquote rape test, for lack of a better term. This is a valid point for many situations. However, rape is not always black and white. If you were forced down by someone in the streets or drugged and taken to the assaulter's home, then there is a clear understanding that a rape occurred. But there are times when a woman comes into a situation that was consensual, but when she changed her mind before the act started, the man either intimidated her or forced the situation to go forward. In this situation, the line can be blurred. She might think to herself afterwards that she did consent to going with him, and that by way of that first area of consent, she really didn't have room to say the situation turned into assault or rape, even though it very much did. In this case, by the time she comes to the conclusion that she was actually raped, it might be too late to get a rape kit done or collect evidence. Also, if she started the situation in a consensual manner, the evidence might not even be applicable, since the sexual interaction turned into rape during the consensual interactions before she said no. Thus, no clear evidence is available. It's just a he said, she said conundrum. Another area to consider as well is rape through incest or in a marriage. The woman, or child in some cases, would not have the ability to go through these procedures. If the person raping you is also in control of your mobility or access to the outside world, like a father or husband, then the woman is likely not able to get to a hospital or police station. In other words, seeing the rape caveat in the abortion issue as something that can be easily fixed is choosing to be very nearsighted and unwilling to see the strands of complications that could and will arise. Creating laws on this subject is hard, especially when it comes to rape and the consequences. If abortion was banned, would the consequences for rape become more severe? One extreme consequence for men who rape women would be to take their manhood away completely. However, there are women who falsely accuse men of rape. What do you do then? Treat them as equal? If a man is guilty, he loses his manhood. If a woman lies, she loses her womanhood in some way or fashion. This is very extreme, but it is an example of how extreme laws would have to be to make the subject of abortion fair and balanced. The far end of the road is bleak in any scenario on this subject. This illustration is a wonderful example of living by an eye for an eye. We would live in a world where everyone was blind. Although a lot of work is being made to change the culture of women being seen as property or objects, there's still work to be done. But there is only so far education can go. There are some who are predators by nature and understand what they are doing when they rape someone, and actually enjoy that. Therefore, while education can help a lot, it will never eliminate the issue, just the same as laws will never succeed in completely negating it either. Questions for this week. Do you think that women would want their rapists to be held accountable for their actions, in the sense of having to help raise the child beyond monetary means? Also, do you think harsher punishments should be given to those who rape and those who lie about rape? How far should those punishments go? And do you think rape has any place in the abortion discussion? If you are interested in commenting about this episode or answering any of the questions I just asked, you are welcome to. You can either send me an email at lawlessconversations@yahoo.com. That is LAWLESSCONVERSATIONS@yahoo.com. You can also comment on Twitter at Lawless Convos, LAWLESSCONVOS. Finally, you can also contact me on Facebook if you just look for Lawless Conversations, 2 different words, LAWLESSCONVERSATIONS. I look forward to hearing from you. The references to any sources that I use in each episode will be available in the bio, along with all of these social media connections. Join me next week as we talk about consent and a little bit of how tricky that is in relation to communication and couples and all of that, and just the concept of consent in general. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I look forward to next week.